What is up, guys? Welcome to another video. So in previous videos I've mentioned how I've always been intrigued to know what my testosterone levels are, because obviously testosterone is kind of a precursor to determine how much muscle you can build. So I was pointed in the direction of a company called Thriver, which basically is a blood sampling company which takes your blood, takes it to the lab and then analyses it. So having logged onto their app, I realised that they actually do a whole lot more than just analyse your testosterone. So what this actually offers me is the chance to look at my health overall rather than just focusing on my testosterone. So I decided to go for the full shebang and just get all of the things within the list here. So I'll just go through exactly what they are. So it's my B vitamin levels that I'm going to get tested, my vitamin C levels, my testosterone level, my HbA1c levels, which is basically determining whether I'm pre-diabetic, my advanced iron profile, my liver function, my lipid profile, my omega-3 to 6 ratio, which is actually quite important apparently, and my thyroid profile. So all of these things are going to just basically give it a picture of how healthy I am, and you can get this retested sort of every 3 to 6 months and then see if you're getting better at certain things, and it gives you a little score to see how healthy you actually are. So I thought that was quite a good thing to invest on, you know, invest in your health and that sort of thing. So the only thing is, apparently I've got to be fasted before I actually send off the blood samples, which I'm not, so I'm going to have to do this tomorrow morning, and then it takes 12 days to come back, and all I have to do is look at my app and then all of the information will be there. So I guess I'll see you tomorrow for the blood taking ceremony. Alright, let's prick this prick. I should probably read the instructions again just to make sure I know exactly what I'm doing, because it's quite expensive. I don't really want to have to go through all of this again. In the morning, after fasting for 8 hours, check. Drink lots of water, check. So apparently the next thing I need to do is place my hand in a bowl of warm water, I presume to help blood flow. So I need to do that for 2 minutes. Right, so the next part, probably the most important part, and that is the actual taking of the blood. So I need to make sure my hand is nice and sterile. So I'll wipe this with this alcohol gel and then we'll get jabbing. Needless to say, if you aren't very good with blood and you don't like the look of blood or anything like that, probably isn't the video for you, or you might want to just not watch for the next sort of 30 seconds to a minute, and then you can join us back for the results, I suppose. We take the lids off these little things here. Then we jab the finger by taking off the lancer, so that will go on my finger that I don't mind getting jabbed. There. And then we fill these up. There we go. Right. Pop the cap on this one.
Five minutes later.
Okay, so the next step now is just to send these off and wait 12 days. Alright then, so it's now the new year and now we're in another lockdown because it took slightly over 12 days for them to get the results back to me. So happy new year, welcome to 2021. It's already looking like another shit year, isn't it? But I digress. So I've got the results back, and starting off they give you a score out of 100, and initially I got 87 out of 100. That's when I did my questionnaire, so I answered a few questions and then they give you a sort of average score on what they think your results are going to be. Now that I've got my blood results back, they've given me 81 out of 100, so that's -6 to the original score, so it's a little bit less than expected, but still fairly close to what I was expecting. But I'm going to go over the blood results now, and we'll start off with the sort of main one that I was interested in, and that is the testosterone results. Okay, test result time, pun intended. I'm going to start with testosterone, the bound testosterone in my body, which basically makes up 98% of the testosterone in my body. The ranges start at 0 and go up to 31.4, just for a bit of context. So mine came in at 12.71 nanomoles per litre, which puts me in the normal range. but it's actually slightly on the lower end of normal. And my unbound testosterone, which makes up around about 2% of my testosterone in my body, with the starting range starting at 0 going up to 1, mine came in at 0.2917, which again is in the normal range, but in the slightly lower end of normal. So how does this make me feel? It doesn't really make me feel anything, to be honest with you. And the reason for that is I went into this with a very healthy mindset of not overthinking what the result was going to be. You know, it's interesting knowing what this is, but it doesn't really bother me either way. If it was on the slightly higher end, that would have been interesting. The fact that it's slightly on the lower end, that's also interesting. I mean, obviously you want everything to be optimal and sort of on the higher end, but the fact that it's in the normal range, that's fine with me. And the reason I'm sort of taking this approach to it is because I got a good comment from someone on one of my videos when I was discussing the fact that I was going to be doing these tests, saying don't overthink what the result's going to be because it can affect you psychologically. So that's kind of the mindset that I had going into this. It was very open-minded, not really worrying what the result was going to be, because I know there may be a lot of people, maybe a lot of young men that may overthink these sort of results, and if they do get a result maybe similar to this where it's slightly on the lower end of normal, or if it's below normal, then they'll immediately be wanting to go out and inject testosterone into themselves just to try and boost their natural levels. I mean, if your testosterone is really clinically on the low side, then I would just recommend talking to a GP, and that can be an option. But just to take the knee-jerk reaction to suddenly start injecting testosterone just because your testosterone levels are slightly on the lower end of normal is not the route to take. And there are reasons why. First of all, if you're in the normal range, that's healthy. You're in the normal range. It doesn't matter where in that normal range you are. Doesn't change who you are as a person. And also there is a lot of studies which actually show that testosterone isn't really the direct it is a direct precursor of building muscle, but it's not one of the main ones. The main ones just are your genetics and, you know, what you've been passed down from your parents. That is really what's going to determine how much and how quickly you can build muscle, and your level of testosterone isn't the be all or end all which is going to determine how much muscle you can build. So just to emphasise the point about not worrying about testosterone levels and actually how it doesn't really make that much of a difference. I was watching a video by Matt Does Fitness fairly recently, just in preparation for this video, where he got his testosterone levels tested as well.
Anyway, the moment you've all been waiting for, the results of my test, here they are. Now, in case you're a moron and you're sitting there thinking, what the hell is that? Allow me to break it down for you. So, the level of testosterone in my body has been measured in nanomoles per litre. You can see there the normal range is about 7.6 to 31.4, and I'm coming in at 11.5. Now, that puts me in the normal range. So the first thing there is that, you know, technically I'm normal, right? But you can see I'm right down towards the lower end of normal. And to be honest, I expected myself to be, you know, at the very least at the higher end of normal, maybe even like above average. So I was pretty surprised by that.
And his came in at 11.5 out of 31.4, which again is slightly on the lower end of normal, and it's actually lower than what I got. And this is from a guy that, you know, appears to be able to grow muscle very quickly, is obviously a lot bigger than me, a lot leaner than me. So if someone like that has got slightly lower to normal testosterone, then I really don't think it's anything to worry about. So moving on from testosterone, we'll have a look at my other blood results. And another reason why I'm doing this video is to make it fairly educational. So if you're worried about your own health and you want to get your blood results done, then this is a way of doing it. And then this can actually let you know what areas you can improve on. So the good thing about it is a doctor or a GP does actually get back to you, so it's not as if they just send over your results and then you have no idea how to interpret them. A doctor actually goes through it with you. So as here, Dr. Manning has said, "Hi Matt, unfortunately your TSH could not be processed," so that's my thyroid levels, because there wasn't enough blood. But then they do actually discuss the importance of your thyroid, the role of your thyroid and that sort of thing. So obviously it couldn't be processed because there wasn't enough blood in the little capsule, unfortunately, so I didn't actually give them enough blood. But they said my thyroxine level was fine, so this indicates that my thyroid should be fine, but it'd be worth testing it a little bit later down the line. He said overall your results are good. To improve your cholesterol profile, I would recommend focusing on increasing your HDL levels. So Heart UK has some good fact sheets on this, so it gives you some you know, ideas of what you can do to improve on your results. So my cholesterol was on the higher side, and that's fairly typical of a Western diet. But yeah, let's go through the actual results themselves. So the HbA1c, which is the diabetes score, this was optimal, so I was actually in the optimal range for this. We've already gone through my testosterone. So my omega-3 and 6 ratio, that was pretty bad, so that's something that I'm going to look to change as well. The ratio was 17:1, so 17 being omega-6 and the 1 being omega-3. Why that's important is when that ratio is really off, that can be linked to an increase in heart disease, as Dr. Manning alludes to here. So that's something that I'm going to look to improve. I'm going to try and have more omega-3s in my diet and reduce the amount of omega-6s. So that was good to know. I didn't know that that was a thing, having such bad ratio. And again, it's very typical of a Western diet to have a lot more omega-6s than omega-3s. So that was interesting to know. My advanced iron profile, again, I don't know much about my iron, but this was all in the normal range. And again, he talks about what the different things are here. So my unsaturated iron binding capacity, and just talks about what that is. So, you know, fairly educational. My ferritin level was optimal, apparently, which is thought of as your iron stores. So that's good, I suppose. My thyroid profile, again, I couldn't really get a result for that because there wasn't enough blood in the capsule, but my thyroxine level is fine. Now, moving on to my CRP. Now, this is genuinely something that is fairly important because your CRP level is how sensitive you are to inflammation in your body, and active inflammation has been linked to things like cancer and things like heart disease, and strokes, just things that are generally not very nice. So my sensitivity was very, very low, which is optimal. It means that I haven't got any active inflammation in my body, which is important to know because heart disease does run in my family. Obviously my dad passed away from a heart attack, so this was something I was genuinely intrigued to know what my level was, and it's good to know that I'm on the optimal side of that. So then my vitamin B9s and B12s, that's like my energy yielding vitamins, they're in the normal ranges, so again that's good. My folate is slightly in the lower to normal range, so that's something I could potentially look at in improving. My cholesterol is normal, but my LDL cholesterol is high, and that's the one that you want to be decreasing. So this is your bad cholesterol, as Dr. Manning puts it. Elevated levels can increase your risk of cardiovascular disease, including stroke and heart attack. So that's something I'm going to try to reduce. I'm going to try and reduce the amount of bad cholesterol I have, but I'm going to try and increase the amount of HDL I have, so high density cholesterol, because that's on the low side and I need to try and improve that. So that's good to know, but overall my cholesterol is in the normal side, but my ratio is not great. I need to try and increase my HDL. So my liver function, this is also good to know. It's all fairly optimal and normal. My phosphates, my globulin, my bilirubin, they're all optimal and normal. When I have a bit more time, I'm going to look into exactly what these things are because I have no idea. So it'd be good to know. But they're all normal, all optimal, which equals healthy. So yeah, I think the main things I really need to look at are my HDL, so which is like my cholesterol. I need to try and increase that, so increase my good cholesterol and lower my bad cholesterol. And just generally worry about some of the fats that I'm having, so my omega-6s, my omega-3s, but apart from that, everything looks to be fairly okay. I'm a fairly healthy individual from the looks of things. And it's good to know, because something could have drastically been out of place here, and I not necessarily have known it. So yeah, I recommend, if you have money to spare, to actually invest in your health and have a look at your blood work, because you never know if you find something out of place. So yeah, there we go. That was fairly interesting to see some of those things there. I'll probably get it done again in the next 3 to 6 months, just so I can try and improve on some of those things, especially around cholesterol and my omega-3s and 6s. In terms of my testosterone, which is kind of the original reason why I did the test, like I said earlier, I'm not going to be worrying about that just because it's in the slightly lower to normal ranges. Naturally, as I hit 30, which is next year, my testosterone will naturally drop off anyway, so that's just something that men have to face as they get into their 30s, but yeah, that's something for future Matt to think about. But anyway, I'm going to wrap up the video now. If you are interested in doing this test yourself, getting your blood work done, I'll put a link down below so you can have a little look. I definitely recommend Thriver as a company to get that done. But yeah, as for now, I've waffled on far too long, so I hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope you've taken something away from it, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace!